Today we are looking at portals and how they are controlled from within PropertyBoss. So when you get a new portal link and you're going live with portals, there's a few things you want to know as far as keeping an eye out within PropertyBoss that will control the user experience on their end. So we'll start by going to residents and contacts. We're just going to pull up a test contact here so that we can look and see what kind of settings you have control on from within PropertyBoss. So when you pull up the contact notebook, you're going to see here for this example tenant, we've got a setting here where we see their web portal email address. Now that's important because that is the email address that the portals are using to authorize them. So if this person has registered with this swest@propertyboss.com, for example, that is the email address they registered with in the portal. That's the email address that will be approved to log in if you've given them permissions to do so. We will show you where that is a little bit later, but for the big part, once they're registering, this is what you want to keep an eye on, making sure that if they are having issues, the vast majority of issues will be potentially a typo here, or they forget which email address they've registered with. Always able to come in and check this, and it's something you can control and change on your end. So if someone wants to update which email address they're trying to register with, or they had a typo in it, you can fix it. Whatever email address you put in here will be the email address that they are allowed to log into the portal with. Now that's with residents and owners as well. You've got the option down here. You're going to see a setting, do not allow web payment. If you want to give someone the access to their portal to view the register, see their work orders, anything like that, but you do not want them to be able to submit payments from there, you can just check this box here. That would hide the make a payment button. But by default, all portals are going to come with work order tab and a resident payment tab where they can make a payment, a register tab where they can see their register. Now, some of that stuff we can customize on the back end, and in a separate video, we'll take a look at the portal itself and what they would see from their side of the experience. Now, if we wanted to, for any reason, not allow a particular tenant to access the web portal, if you go over here to the residents and contacts tab of their lease notebook, you're going to see a running list of all the tenants that live here. So each tenant will have the option. If you've got a unit that has 3 or 4 tenants, they each can have their own login to the web portal, and that's controlled by this allow login to web portal button. So you can check it just for the main contact on the lease, or you can give everyone within that lease the option to log in. The key there will just be that they've registered online and that they've got the proper web portal email address there. Now, once you've verified those 2 things, they should have no issues accessing their portal. So that's kind of what you want to, the main fields you want to keep an eye on when troubleshooting portals or looking into remove or grant access to someone to the portals. Now, if we come back out here to PropertyBoss today, this is where you're going to see the majority of any activity that comes in through the portals into PropertyBoss. So think of the portals as their means of submitting work orders, payments, anything like that they would send in. If they update their contact information, it's going to come into you through new web activity. So you're going to want to keep an eye on new web activity and make sure that you're opening that up, looking at it regularly. That's also where payments come in as well, and any scheduled payments that they update through the portal. All that's going to come in through new web activity. And it's simple process of just clicking the execute button to execute all the web activity. That would be registered residents, web payments, work orders, anything along those lines that come in from the portal are going to come into web activity. So that's something you like to keep an eye on a regular basis, just to make sure your PropertyBoss is updating with the information that's being submitted from the portals. I like to tell people that if you haven't executed it out of web activity, it's nowhere else in PropertyBoss except sitting there in web activity. So it's not going to be on their register. Their contact information is not going to be updated. They're not going to be allowed access to log into the portal until you come in and execute that registered resident or that web payment or that work order. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that as regularly as possible. And again, residents, we went through there. If you've got owners and you're using the owner portal, that is a separate portal that would be controlled, their user permissions and all from there as well. So that's really the snapshot of what you're keeping an eye on, how to troubleshoot from a PropertyBoss perspective. These are few settings that are kind of the first thing to check. And if you verified those, that web portal email, and you verified that they've got that with no typos and that they're allowed access, you should have no problems on that end with them accessing their portal. And that's it. That's your basic 101 inside view of portals and how they are controlled from within PropertyBoss.